This interview is part of the Living Legends collection of the Oklahoma Historical Society. It is an interview with Mr. Arthur Green in Tahlequah, Oklahoma, interviewed by Mr. Pendleton Woods. The date of the interview is August 13th, 1971. It is being copied for inclusion in the permanent collection of the Oral History Program on April 17th, 1990 by Joel Todd.
This is Penn Woods interviewing the Oklahoma Living Legends at Tsa La Gi, the Cherokee Historical Society. We were interviewing very briefly Mr. Arthur Green, who plays the role of John Ross in the Tsa La Gi pageant, which we saw last night and which we recorded last night. I wonder if you would tell us a little bit. You're from Charlottesville, Virginia, I understand. What caused you to come here?
Well, the director, David Weiss, is chairman of my department at the University of Virginia, and he asked if I would be interested in coming out for the summer, and I told him yes. He thought that I was a physically good type for the role. He knew my work. He wanted an associate director whose work that he knew, and so after some thought, I decided to come.
He was serving as the director
Yes.
here.
And he left, of course, to go back just after the show opened, and I've been doing understudy rehearsals and doing the artistic elements of the show since he left.
Did you know anything of Cherokee history before you came here?
A little, yes. I had, of course, seen Unto These Hills and had gone to the University of North Carolina, where there was a great deal of talk about Cherokee history, and where a number of the other outdoor dramas were developed. I worked in Horn in the West, which touches on it just a little bit, and had read a little bit. After I found out I was coming out here, I began to read a little more, and since I've been here, I've learned a great deal more and become fascinated with it.
Why don't you tell a little about your experience this summer and what you feel it has done for you?
Well, it's certainly, well, I hadn't done an outdoor show for about 20 years. As a matter of fact, it's 19 years this summer since I had done an outdoor show. And it's gotten me back into the techniques of doing outdoor drama. It's provided me with a lot of new experiences. I've developed, I think, some new ideas that will help me in my teaching when I get back. I think I've developed as an actor. I've been doing a long run. I hadn't done a long run show for a long time. And it requires a great deal of discipline, self-discipline, in order to maintain the spontaneity, the freshness, the aliveness that you have to have every night, because the audience doesn't recognize or accept the fact that this might be the 40th performance. And you've got to be just as fresh on the 50th performance as you are on the first performance. And this has helped.
What do you teach at?
I teach advanced acting, a course in styles, voice and diction for the actor, introduction to the theater, a play production course.
What are some of the other parts you have played in farmer shows?
Let's see. In the outdoor shows, I worked in the Common Glory. I played John Adams. I played the Reverend Mr. Madison, a couple of others. I was with that show for 3 years. I played Jeffrey Stewart in Horn in the West, and I also played Sam Phillips in Horn in the West. That's a role that's no longer in the show, but it was a very interesting fictional character when it was first running. In regular theater, I've done Willie Loman in Death of a Salesman, Caliban in The Tempest, Davies in The Caretaker, Max in The Homegoing, things of that kind.
As an outsider who has come in here for the first time and has seen experiences for the first time, coming from out of state, what comments did you make, not just on the play, but on the overall project of Tsa La Gi?
I'm tremendously impressed with it. My first impression, well, the first thing I saw when I came here was the theater. About 7 o'clock on the evening of the 2nd of June, I think. I walked in and I was just overwhelmed with the beauty of the place, first of all. Even driving through the parking lot into the entrance and then getting out here and walking down in the house onto the stage was just a fantastic feeling. I could see at that point that it was a fantastically well-designed, well-built, and workable plant. The project itself, the village, I didn't see the village for about a week after I was here, and I'm tremendously impressed with this. I think the whole project is one of the most exciting and interesting efforts that I've ever been involved with.
What do you feel a project like this can do for the developing and sparking an interest in history and also an interest in the heritage of a tribe or of a group?
It's this kind of thing that I think is very important. So much of the museum kind of approach to preserving historical materials, artifacts, and so forth, I think tends to become anyway very, very commercialized, and you see not. Well, it's hard to say what is really accurate. Well, the village, for example. You step into the village and it's like stepping back a few centuries. There is nothing there that could not have been there in the 1700s, it seems to me. It's really like stepping into the past. I think so often this kind of thing tends to adapt for the present things of the past, so that instead of an actual reproduction of an OC, I think that's the name of the hut, isn't it? The OC, you would, with the materials, the actual materials, or as close as we can come to it, you'd find plastic and concrete and modern materials used. In the village, they've used authentic materials. The